It's very hard to do that because, history doesn't repeat itself. The cliche goes, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And clearly, the story of how Kennedy and Khrushchev, from ideological, cultural, and many other opposite sides of politics, started off this crisis in a very belligerent mood. I mean, Kennedy's first reaction was, we're going to strike those missile sites. We're going to get them out one way or the other, and was very much leaning towards an attack. And Khrushchev's reaction, when he hears that Kennedy is going to announce the blockade, his first reaction is, this is piracy on the high seas. We are not going to listen to this. And yet they both managed to restrain those initial impulses and possibly just in time find a common language to avoid the ultimate disaster. And at the end, both Kennedy and Khrushchev realized that nothing they are arguing about is worth the potential price of a thermonuclear war that would have killed millions of people. Both of them remembered and had lived through World War II. In the end, Khrushchev was rational, Kennedy was rational, even though we could say the nuclear system they were both part of and contributed to was irrational. It had created a world in which the means far outweighed any end that they could have been used for. The problem is, in a standoff with, say, Iran, you cannot perfectly tell the future. Which is worse? An action that has the risk of escalation, or not taking an action, which also has the risk of escalation. You can't have 20/20 foresight. As a lot of evidence has made clear, Fidel Castro and his associates were perfectly willing not only to die, but to use nuclear weapons rather than face humiliation or loss of dignity. It's very hard to generalize, other than to say keeping perspective over the stakes of any crisis is crucial, because ultimately Kennedy and Khrushchev realized that the stakes did not justify the ultimate disaster.